Wow, we're back again. Woohoo! So, well, hello everyone. This is Feroshia Knight from Coach Training World, and I am here with the wonderful, extraordinary Matthew John. And I'm going to have a blast with this one. And this is going to be a shorter video because we've had some technical challenges. But why I'm so excited is you went from a career where you were actually the master of masterful in the beauty industry. You've had not only as a teacher, a beautician, is that what you call it as a male beautician?
Hairdresser.
Hairdresser, thank you. Get my words correct here.
Right.
But you were at the top of your game making big bucks and something still wasn't right. And I loved when you talked about that transition from here I am at this status, this place of knowing, I'm sure you felt really comfortable and really confident in everything you were doing, knowing that you were at the top of your game, and yet something called you to something else. And I'm imagining with that was that big scary, is this gonna work? Am I gonna fill in the blank, fear, 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 fear. And what I love is you're helping people now today in that same place where life is a blank slate and they kind of lost their way, lost their direction, probably lost their heart and soul a little bit, and maybe what they're doing in their relationships. And you're really helping them to get to that compass and get that direction and feel good about themselves. I'm wondering, could you give a little bit of context? Because I've kind of hinted at, your hairdresser years, but I think it's a really fun story. Could we start there?
Sure. Yeah. So the quick of that is for 30 years, I was a hairdresser. I've owned my own business for the last 20, I think 6 years of the 30 years that I was a hairdresser. I owned my own business. And in Portland here, owned my own business for years and was very successful, had a great clientele, made a great living, and was very successful. I loved it. But you're right. This was always calling me. Something else was pushing me forward. And so it just found itself, really. And it was time for me to change everything I did. And so I sold my business and I found Coach Training World, and I leveraged everything that I am as a person and everything that I've learned in those 30 years into what I do and who I am now. So, yeah. So that's kind of, that's what's happening.
Well, and you're helping other people really find their way. And that's what I want to talk about.
Right. I love it. I have to say, when I realized that I was going to be a life coach, I wasn't really sure. I have friends that have been for many, many years, and I wasn't sure that that's what I would do or what it was really. And then I found Coach Training World, and I'm just going to say this because it's true, because the reason I went there is it talked about that it's a whole person coaching. And that's what spoke to me, is this holistic thing, because that's how I work. I work from every perspective: the spiritual values of a person, the emotional values of a person, the physical values of a person. Sorry, Daddy just left, so that's what's going on out the window. So yeah, so that's what spoke to me really, is that holistic approach, and now that is how I'm working.
You are.
Yeah.
And you just got a new office so you can meet with people in person too.
I did. And there's a big thing to that. And I think that it is about making a declaration. The I am, yeah? So every time, and we do it all the time. Oh, I'm going to, I am, I will. Those declarations are a big deal. And now that I have that office, I have noticed I've made that declaration. I am a life coach. I am a transformational coach. That's what I do. That's who I am. And business I can't even tell you, Feroshia. It is finding me. It's beautiful. Yeah. And people are coming, people are just finding me.
I think I'm going to add into this because I know some of the behind the scenes secrets. You are doing some wonderful spiritual workshops. You're really providing some great wisdom and guidance. You're shining your light. So I think you're putting yourself out there, and that's what's attracting people, is because you've got so much wisdom. And I know in past conversations, you've got a wonderful history in helping people almost from a spiritual path. Could you share like maybe 2 or 3 of your insights of things that maybe someone could go, oh, I should think about that when I feel lost?
Yeah. You know, where that just blows my mind, just even that question really. But yes, what's showing up a lot right now with my clients and with myself is, again, this declaration. It's about the words that we choose, and that they create, these words create all of our truths. And again, making these declarations, I am, I want, I will. The people who, you know, you're just constantly creating things in your life without taking control of them. So this is what I'm getting to. I'm seeing a lot of people who aren't happy in their jobs, in their careers, and they want to change it. But the fear of changing their career, hello, I know, is stopping them from taking the commitment, the power that they have to make that choice. So instead, they want that to happen, and so it starts to come for them. Now they're getting bad reviews at their jobs. They're getting, right? It's coming. They're going to change their job, but now they're not going to have the power and the control of that. And so that, to me, when you know that that change needs to happen, as you have to face that fear, and you have to find, it's the clarity of how to do it, but you have to do it because it comes for you. Yeah, I mean, you know this, right? It's just it seems to be the laws of the universe, you know, the laws of attraction. And so that's what I would suggest. Really,
what I'm hearing is
standing in that.
Really pay attention to the language.
Yes.
And so if I was saying, oh, I don't want this job, or I hate, you know, I mean, it's been a few years, like, oh, I don't want my business.
Right.
It's like not had a job for so many years, but what would be a technique that they could maybe apply right now, you know, even before meeting with you?
Oh, absolutely. What they can do is find out where their core beliefs are. You know, what is serving them? How are they in service? I mean, so really it is just about sitting down and getting clear and honest. You cannot know where you're going until you're honest about the direction you're headed. So, and you know how oftentimes people say, I'm going to, and then you have to stop and say, you say you're going that way, but you know that you're headed that way. You know, they're not being honest with themselves. And I mean, and I'm one of them. I get it. I mean, we've all been just a little lost on that path. You know, not completely, but you've strayed from it a little bit. You have to just be honest first about what you need.
Well, and honest, what I'm also hearing is honest with, I'm talking X, doing Y, or even talking X and thinking Y.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can imagine the cognitive dissonance and the chaos. And of course, that would amplify the fear.
Yeah, can't you?
Yeah. Well, and increase distrust.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a hard thing. I mean, fear, right, is the only way forward is through fear. I mean, there is no. It always is the first thing that comes up whenever there's a change. Fear comes up, the what ifs. What if, what if, what if? All fear-based. But you can't get to the other side without pushing through it. So that, I think, is, you know, where people need support. That's when I need support. I mean, I was fortunate when I was really making this transition is when I found the coaching world. So I was being coached constantly.
Yes, you were.
I mean, let's be honest. While I was in this huge life transition, I had all these coaches, which are still my very good friends, my dear friends that I went to school with, and they're still my coaches. I mean, I still call these people to ask help. I don't know what I'm doing right now. And, you know, and so I get it. I mean, it's a big, big thing. And it's a beautiful place to be, really, you know, to be able to help somebody. And then realizing, like you said, this spiritual part of me, I didn't know where that would fit into my coaching and how that would really transition itself and lend itself. But I've surrendered to it, Dorothy. Surrender. And it's really, I get it. I mean, I get it. And it just proves to me time and time again, while I'm in the coaching, while I'm just being honest about who I am, I'm getting my client to be honest about who they are. And I know that that's what works because I'm living it.
Absolutely. And you're giving them the permission,
right,
that you've given yourself, which has set you free. Right?
Yes. I mean, it's, Oprah said it time and time again, the truth will set you free, honey. And that's just a truth. Yeah. I mean, it just is.
Yeah.
But,
well, and I think that the real truth is you recognize all the changes that your clients are coming to you for are also changes that you're either going to be making yourself at some point in some form, or changes you've gone through. And I hear that humbleness of, that you're still always in your learning and growing process, and that it's not about being perfect, but it's about really being who you are at your best. And I'm getting that clearly from you.
Yeah. I have a big thing in my office that says a life does not have to be perfect to be wonderful. And right, exactly. And so let that go. Get to your perfect. Don't worry about what's perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just love it. I cannot believe how all of it has just shown up. Yeah. And that I really believe, I fought with, me, whoever's watching this doesn't, but I'm really obsessive. And I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I have to be the best at everything I do. And oh my God, I can just chase myself, my tail around on that. And so I work with that. That's what I'm dealt with. And so I thought I would be a peer coach. That's what I do. Oh my gosh. And that was a struggle for me, but I hit it. And people like yourself would say, are you sure? Because I think you should be doing spiritual coaching.
Yeah.
And then now I just let it be. And the transformation is amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hearing my next appointment, and he's about ready to bark. So your dog beat him to it. But that's one of the beautiful things about this work is we get to have whole lives with all of our besties.
Right. Seriously. It is beautiful.
So what I want to do is quickly have, could you tell everyone your website and how to get a hold of you?
So yeah, I am at matthewjohn.life. And you know how that is. There will be other websites as well, matthewjohnwagner.com and matthewjohn.org, and I'm covering all the bases on it. So yeah, it's wonderful.
That's awesome. And so the perfect client for you is someone that's kind of looking for correct me if I'm wrong, but really that deeper guidance and really finding that inner compass from inside, and maybe also from more of a spiritual perspective as well.
I think that's true. I think that I'm helping people not just with what they do, but with who they are.
Yeah, the identity.
And so identity is a big thing. It gets lost.
Yeah, it sure does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that could happen, because we never think about it. Then one day we wake up and we're like, wow, I'm not 100% of me. And I love that story. Could you actually, at risk of having an interruption, could you tell the story when you talked about the person walking down, the parts falling off?
Oh.
Do you remember that? About being a whole person?
Right. I can't come up with it right now.
Oh, well, the gesture was, and I'll never forget this, but you were talking about how we go through life. And as we're walking along the pathway of life, or the river of life, little pieces of us, oh, that part of me that was the creative, oh, that other part of me kind of falls off, gets tucked away, dismissed, disguised. And then suddenly we find ourselves completely a different person and missing, not whole in the way that we are, even though all those parts still exist, but we've kind of let go of that. Now, do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yes. Some of the work that I do is about I call it how you stand in the way of yourself, or in front of yourself. In that every time when these things happen in your life, you stop like especially when something tragic happens, you stop in your tracks and you leave that part of you behind and you walk around yourself. And so every time you're on this path, you're losing yourself. You start here and you are here now, all the way along that path. Everything that's good and bad, but bad is a lot more current and has more strength. It stops us and we lose these pieces. And so when we're here, we're not whole. Yeah, you have to go back and collect all of these pieces. And, you know, part of the coaching is leveraging all of your strengths. Yeah. So it's that same reach back and just looking at where have you left yourself? Let's just collect that and bring it back. And now it's stronger because you're more mature and more ready for it. So it's really powerful work.
Yeah. Well, that reclaiming process, I think, is really helps someone to feel that self-security. Like, I am enough and I've always been enough. I've just kind of, for whatever reason, you know, disengaged with aspects of myself that really made me who I am. And what a wonderful feeling that is.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Even like an artist who has been studying painting for years. Yeah. When they first start, they learn all these techniques and then they learn more techniques and then they learn more techniques. Well, as they learn more, they forget what they first learned.
Yes.
And maybe haven't forgotten it, but they've not put it in application anymore. They no longer reach back and use those tools, right? Because they've moved on to new tools. Well, those tools are very successful tools. It's how they started. So I think, you know, reaching back into that and leveraging all of that, it's just good for us all the time to just see where we've been so we can be where we are. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
That's what I'm doing, honey.
I know, it's awesome. And you also do some really cool workshops and stuff in well, actually Louisiana, not New Orleans proper, but there seems to be a connection with some of us down there.
I know. Yeah. And now I've got, like, I started a men's group in my office. And so I'm doing kind of that, and which I didn't realize that now I'm doing group coaching. Didn't really know what that was. And now I'm doing it. You know, I have what I call Evening of Enchantment, and I'm bringing all people into my space. Oh, it's incredible.
Awesome.
I can't even, I'm so grateful. Yeah.
And I can only imagine that your clients are even more grateful for having you, you know, because you've totally got the great leader on many levels.
Oh, that's kind. It's great. I love it. I can't believe people will give themselves to this work so beautifully, you know, so it's great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for
thank you, honey.
taking our time and going through our technical.
Oh, if there's not a little struggle, you can't feel the goodness, right?
Oh no, sometimes technology is too much struggle for any goodness.
I agree, and I don't know about it, so.
Well, thank you, and
thank you, my friend.
I look forward to seeing you really soon, and I'm going to send some into your men's group.
Okay, I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Have a great day.
Bye.